clock. Super 16, it's the cream of the crop. College football, time of year, don't stop.
You're adding this guy.
Just another gold dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Ain't no bias, Chris Zorich breaking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies. College ball, he's a stoop. Breaking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time. My team riding off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist, going over college teams like a busy scientist. Steve streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on his show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best from the ACC to the SEC. Pac-12, Big Ten, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids. Who the best like the clock? Super 16, it's the cream of the crop. College football, time of year, don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another gold dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
And welcome everyone to an abbreviated version of the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. I say abbreviated because we were supposed to be on yesterday, and unfortunately, in the area of Chicago that I'm in, we had a little power outage, like literally a half an hour before I had to go on. So I want to thank all my friends for busting my balls and sending me like links to like generators and stuff like that, like whole home generators, it says some gas generators. So thank you very much. I did get them. So let's get on with the show. So the Super 16 poll was created in 2013 by the Football Writers Association of America and the National Football Foundation. Those are the guys that put together the College Football Hall of Fame. So I've had a chance to do a lot of events with them, and this is one of the events. So they've allowed me this year to partake in the poll show. So we decided to kind of create something a little different. Normally I just kind of push a couple computer buttons and send in my ballot, but we want to do something a little different. So I talked to my guy, which I'll introduce later, but we were able to put something together. So it's going to be cool. So I would like to thank the National Football Foundation for having me or giving me the opportunity to do this, because this is pretty cool. Have a chance to be a student athlete before, had a chance to play in the NFL before, and from there, law school, had a chance to be a Division I athletic director and also the College Football Hall of Fame. So I think I know what I'm talking about. And that's why our poll is going to be a little different, because I'm going to talk about really the intangibles. There may be situations where guys are going to play at Death Valley. It's a bitch playing in Death Valley. It's crazy there. One of the things I hated when I was playing, when we would fly to Penn State, got like take two prop planes, and like I think like a quarter of the team was on one plane. I mean, it was just bad. And then, you know, you always got that feeling, hey man, if I go down with my brothers. But now, you know, I'm going down with receivers, because they had like a little weight class thing where the big guys had to match like some of the receivers, and it was just kind of crazy. And plus to have a horrible locker room, or a visitor's locker room too. So situations like that will be a factor when I put together my results. Also, this poll is going to reflect kind of my ideas, my thoughts. I'm all about an underdog. Being a 6'1" defensive tackle in the NFL, I've had to survive. So I'm all about the underdog as well. I'm going to be keeping it 100 and give you full transparency on why I'm picking who I pick. So that's going to be exciting. When I talk about we, there's a team behind this. Wouldn't be able to do the show without a few folks. One is Steven Johnson from Shy City Sports. Another one is my guy with the music and the graphics, Ron G. And the guy behind the curtain, so to speak, not necessarily Willy Wonka, but my guy, my partner in crime and producer, Phil, I don't want to do I want to start talking about initials and everything else? I mean, okay, why not? He's gonna love this. The draft doctor. I'm sorry, draft Dr. Phil. I don't want to call him DDP, but I'm gonna have to sometimes. So this guy behind the scenes, this guy that's making everything work. So we're gonna be putting this show together for the for the full football season. We're gonna have a blast.
I'm super excited. What up? I'm super excited to be with you, Chris. You have all the fans should know Chris Zorich. Not only have you seen him on our show, but also the hard work he's put in. I know he was so disappointed last night not to be getting into this, but I'm super excited to be producing this and be a part of your journey with us and everything with the National Football Foundation, the Hall of Fame, and the Football Writers Association with you, Chris, being a Hall of Famer yourself. So to be a college football Hall of Famer, one of my favorite players as a young kid growing up, now we're together on a team together. It's almost like I made the NFL.
It's fake. Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. and that large paycheck too, right? Absolutely.
I wish. But anyway, I'll pull myself out of here. I'm super excited, guys. I know the TTNL 100 crew heads are in the chat and excited about your revealing of your college football, Chris. Excuse me. And I'll say this. College football, what a weekend that was.
Oh, my God. You were talking about what well, I was watching some TV, and they're talking about how, I saw some of the game, most of the games, and they were talking about they've never had kind of an exciting matchup since the 1950s. This was huge, man. We had 2 against 3. It was great. It was great.
It was unbelievable. And you have a duty that I don't want to have in ranking these teams because there's a lot. And I think Chris laid it down. He's taken some intangible things from his own experience. I think that, aside from the blog boys, as I call them, the keyboard tough guy putting their rank, I think you have just a little bit of advantage because of not only your football IQ, but you love college football. So if you're just tuning in, this guy loves the game. He leaves bias at the door, and he's, obviously Notre Dame's beaten in his heart, but he's going to keep it 100 on the TTNL where the tape tells the truth, Chris. So,
and also I just want to talk a little bit more, but the idea that, I'll also going to take a look at wins and losses as well, but there's so much that goes into 2 teams playing. The perfect example is last year when BYU got on the bus, or didn't get on the bus, but they actually sent their equipment, like they played, I think on the previous Saturday, they sent their equipment like on Monday over to Coastal Carolina, and everybody thought, BYU was going to blow Coastal Carolina out. But you got to take, that was crazy, man. That travel, it was insane. So that's a factor as well. And a lot of people really don't think about that. So again, it's going to be something different. I've been watching, ESPN Countdown and all these other polls for the last 15, 30 years. But, now I have a chance to kind of do my own and throw my own little mix into it.
Well, I'm excited about it. I'm going to jump behind the curtain for a while.
All right. We're going to have a little fun. We're
going to have a lot of fun on the Super 16 poll show with Chris Zorich. You guys, if you're just tuning in or just you thought it was going to be last night, obviously Chris laid it down. Blame Chris. What's your electric company out there?
Thank you. It's ComEd, but thank you for all of the links. My email, my phone just started blowing up, and they were sending then they were sending me memes of like the little old fashioned grandmother pouring like gas and like trying to crank it up. It was bad. It was very embarrassing. So hopefully folks will have a chance to tune in tonight and understand how great the show is going to be, and we're going to be on every Monday night throughout the football season, college football season, at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern time.
There you go.
All right, man. Okay, so before we talk about this week's 16, we have to go back and talk about my original 16. So here it is, Had Miami at 16, USC, Wisconsin, LSU. 14, we had Oregon, Cincinnati, Florida, North Carolina, Iowa State, Georgia, Texas A&M. And I got a lot of trouble. I got a lot of trouble with my boys putting Notre Dame 5, but I did that because they had a chance. They had a chance last year. And although they were losing a couple folks, I thought they deserved to be that high. Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, and the Alabama. So that being said, we are now going to go into this week's Super 16. And our first team at 16 is going to be Virginia Tech. Our first
number 16, Virginia Tech.
That was good. Okay, I like that, Phil. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that. I was.
Hey, man. That's what happens, man. That's what happens. You got a little nervous. Pressed the wrong button. Thank you very much, making me sit there by myself, looking all pretty. That's cool. No, really interesting because they debuted at 16. Really didn't think a lot of them actually until they actually had a chance to play my number 9th ranked team, which was North Carolina, and literally beat their pants off, right? So although it was a 17-10 score, and this is another thing. I mean, if you are playing a team and you're ranked high, and it's closer, you lose, dude, you're going to drop, man. And I can tell you about Notre Dame, and they're going to be coming up. But it was interesting. I thought it was a great wrap up. It was interesting because Howell, their quarterback, they were talking about like Heisman opportunities for this guy, which is fine. I mean, he didn't have a great game, 169 yards, really not that impressive, but I think it's going to be Virginia Tech is going to have a good year after getting that confidence of beating the number 9th ranked North Carolina. Now, love Mac Brown, thought he was doing an amazing job, especially because he's like 85 or something like that. And he's able to relate to these young kids. That is awesome. But I'm not sure how many other folks have them in. But I think if you beat a number 19, you deserve to be in a poll. So they're coming in at 16. Their next opponent is going to be Middle Tennessee. So we got 15 now. 15, University of Texas.
Number 15, Texas.
Okay, first of all, I am so excited because I am, even though Lou Holtz is my coach, I would like to say I am a Nick Saban disciple. I mean, I think what he does is great. Well, when we get to Alabama, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I think he's done amazing things. He's rehabbed amazing careers from folks. Guys have had some accidents happen. They've done a couple things. Nick takes them in, rehabs them. Perfect example is a head coach at Texas, Steve Sarkisian. I mean, he had some trouble at SC, went there, became the OC, had an amazing year. They debut at 15. Interestingly enough, they beat an okay Louisiana team, 38-18. Again, didn't think it was that great, but I am a huge Texas fan, so having a chance to see what they can do was important. It's going to be interesting. We'll have a chance to talk because I want to get Phil's idea. Or I'm sorry, DDP. Can I tell you DDP or is it Phil? Can I say?
You can call me Phil. I love Phil.
All right, because I am 52, so I'm assuming when I use initials, I feel like I'm a millennial. So
yes, no, you can call me Phil. Just don't call me late for dinner.
All right, I'm almost done here. Okay, so now it's going to be exciting because Texas has an opportunity to join the SEC, which I think is a really great move on their part. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Big 12. So their next opponent is going to be Arkansas.
Let me ask you a question real quick about,
Yes,
do you think that's unfair that they're going to move to the SEC because they've such an established Big 12 program? It's Texas. They're like huge in that whole culture and everything in football. I mean, Texas can arguably be the best high school football program. You know what I'm saying?
I have a buddy who He has a friend who they just moved to Texas, and he was telling him they just built a $65 million stadium for high school in Texas.
My God.
$65 million.
Oh,
But no, I think it's a great move, obviously, for Texas and all the Texas fans. It's a great move for the SEC. They have a chance kind of to broaden their network. Although they had Texas A&M, but now this gives them a huge power. It's just unfortunate for the Big 12, man. I think they're really struggling. And as you saw, they start talking to a couple teams, and there's some couple teams on our poll that they asked, or they asked one team on our poll. But it's interesting because if you lose Alabama if you lose Oklahoma and Texas, and you try and get UCF, BYU, and Cincinnati, and I think there's one other one. But I mean, it's like Houston. It's
Houston, yep.
I mean, so I think the Big 12 is going to be in trouble. I really do. Really do.
I wanted your opinion on that because historically it's immense. I don't think most people understand that, but just jumping in, help.
You got it, sir. Okay, so number 14, we have Penn State.
Number 14, Penn State.
Okay, now this is another unranked team that actually came in and beat one of my ranked teams. I had Wisconsin at 14. No one knew how good Penn State was going to be. And again, when you beat a ranked team, I think you deserve to get ranked, right? Maybe not extremely, extremely high, but interesting enough, they kind of changed positions, so to speak, right? But I think it was hard because you got to play at Camp Randall, and that's a tough place to play, especially now. I mean, I had my wife was talking to me, and I had to go in another room when they had to play, or when they played jump around. I think that's one of the coolest things out there, man. So, and it was great because they were showing the players were jumping around, and the guys on the Penn State team, they were kind of looking around, and I'm sure some of them have seen it before, but I know they were just like, dude, this is so intimidating. But apparently it did not work because they had a chance to kind of beat them. It was an exciting game. The one thing I think is going to be really interesting, though, is really kind of seeing how Wisconsin kind of bounces back from this, because, I mean, folks have said, like, they're the only team that can really give Ohio State kind of a run in the Big Ten. So if these guys get knocked out, I mean, I'm just kind of nervous on who's going to be able to kind of keep a rein on Ohio State when they have a chance to play. I think that this kind of gets me, but I understand why they do it. Their next game is against Ball State. I got nothing against the MAC, but it's going to be. I kind of feel sorry for Ball State, right? Because Penn State's going to put that whipping on them. Now it's going to be cool though, because in 2 weeks they're going to have a chance to play Auburn. So I think that's going to be a really good game. So that was Penn State. All right. So our 13th team is Iowa State.
Number 13, Iowa State.
Now, this is a really exciting team. I've had a chance to kind of watch the head coach, Matt Campbell, for a while, and he's done some amazing things. Kind of an interesting tree. The athletic director there, Jamie Pollard, was with Barry Alvarez over Wisconsin for such a long time, and Coach Alvarez, he's a great coach, great mentor. So he's had a chance to really teach Jamie Pollard a lot, and it really shows in the folks that he's choosing as his coaches. He was able to kind of grab Matt Campbell. They've had some amazing things, but unfortunately, they dropped down. Now, the reason why they dropped down, Phil, you ask, as I heard you ask me, why did they drop down 5?
Why'd they drop down 5, Chris?
Thank you, sir. Because they played Northern Iowa University. And what was the score, you ask, Phil?
What's the score, Chris?
Thank you very much. I think it was like 16-10, or no, 6-10. It was something crazy. But here's the thing. You're not supposed to just beat an unranked team. I mean, I had them at 8 before the season started. So, it happens, man. You drop down to 13 when you just beat a team. So you don't have this big, huge buildup for Notre Dame when I talk about Notre Dame, right? However, they're going to have a chance to redeem themselves because they're going to be playing a number 12 team in Iowa, right? So that's next week's going to be a little kind of interstate rivalry, which I think will be very exciting. But I think it's going to be fun to watch. Again, I'm excited about the Big 12 and the Big 10 having a matchup next week. All right, we're going to go on to our 12th team, which I mentioned before, Iowa.
Number 12, Iowa.
Now, they are making a debut. Why are they making a debut, you ask? Because they had a chance to beat a very good Indiana team 34-6, right? So, that being said, I like Iowa, like Coach Ferentz. He's been around forever. I think he may be kind of like the longest tenured head coach, I think, because, I mean, he's just been there forever, and he's a great, great guy. So, that also comes into play. My neighbor, Nelson, is a huge Iowa fan. He has 2 kids that went there. So I do like Iowa. Love the fact when they're at home, they got this huge thing because they're right by a hospital. And they always kind of wave up to the kids in the hospital. They got the huge window and stuff like that. I really, really like that. It's going to be interesting, though, right? Because they're going to be playing a team next week that I really think is pretty good. I mean, I think that it's a good Iowa State team, even though they only beat Northern Iowa by 6. I think it's going to be a really good game next year. So for next week.
This is a good interstate rivalry too, Chris. This is something 2 of your top 16 going at it. Iowa, obviously, like you said, with the longest tenured coach, who always seems to be on the cusp, and then they falter. Ferentz, he never goes over the top, and then this rivalry always ends up, directing the whole rest of the season. So, with this coming up, Ames versus Des Moines, you like that?
Well, but here's the thing: are they playing for something? Do they got like a
I think
bucket or like an axe or like some corn or corn?
I wish we had Chris Jackal producing that could look that up. But yeah,
so is that somebody I need to hire instead of
we need
because I assume
we need the chat. We need someone to work. I'm working everything right now. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad.
I need a statistician because I don't do stats, Chris.
Nice, I like that.
But I think it's some bucket of some sort.
Because I think I know there's an axe in the Big Ten. I know there's a jug. I think Illinois and Minnesota they play for
Iowa's in Iowa City. I apologize.
Whoa, okay, yeah. See,
I thought it was in Des Moines, didn't you?
Anyway. No, hey, I thought it was in Iowa City too, just like you said.
Cool, Kennedy.
Well, here's the thing. See, I would know these things.
Yes.
I'm from the Midwest. I'm about to do a shameless plug, but
go ahead. I want you to.
My time at Notre Dame, we never lost to a Big Ten team. So
wow.
Yes, how about that? New host. Hello. So
can we hum the song? Oh, sorry.
I don't know like all the trophies,
all the fights
in the Big Ten.
Oh,
so
yeah. It's definitely something. We'll just call it the Golden Boot for now.
Well, how about it has to do with some corn, right? Because I know Iowa's they're really big into corn. So how about the Golden Corn Cob?
There you go. Wow, if I had the Cobb quickie, this is not a.
No, thank you. This is a family show.
This is a family.
This is a family show.
This is a family show.
It's on a script.
That's right.
Here we go. I think I got the same shirt on too. That's bad.
I love this guy.
All right, man. All right, 11. We have USC.
Number 11, USC.
Now, here's the thing. Again, I understand the whole preseason thing. I'm a huge Clay Hilton fan. I think he's going to do well there. And Silvers, their quarterback, they're talking about Heisman with him too. They actually put a whipping on a team that they were supposed to do, right? San Jose State, 37. But that's the thing. I mean, you have these ranked teams these are the teams that are supposed to beat the unranked teams. Now, why do you do that? Okay, you do it just like the NFL. They have preseason games. You want to schedule kind of weaker opponents, but at the end of the day, it's almost like how do you judge your team, right? You're tired of going through camp. You have a chance to really kind of have a chance to hit somebody else during practice, which those of you who play, this is great. You have a chance to kind of hit somebody else. And you kind of want to give your team confidence, right? Now, that's why NFL's preseason games to kind of see what happens. But in my case, when I was at Notre Dame, like our first game was not against Michigan. So it was either like 1-2 or 1-4, something like that. So literally every game for us was big. Did I just give myself another shameless plug there, DDP, Dr. Phil?
You have to. You have to.
Okay.
You have
I was just making sure. Just making sure.
Do. And it's the Cy-Hawk Trophy going back. Cy-Hawk Trophy this weekend, Chris. Me and you will be paying close attention to that game.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. I promise we will talk about that on the next show.
Yes.
If there's a good outcome. If there's a good outcome. Love USC. Think they're going to be great. They've had great traditional quarterbacks. He's supposed to be good. Again, he had over 250 yards. I think it's going to be great. And I think they're going to have a chance to kind of get the confidence back playing Stanford their next game. So that's USC. We're going to go into our top 10 now. Our top 10 at number 10 is Oregon.
Number 10, Oregon.
Now, here's a team up to. Just love the head coach, Mario Cristobal. I actually played against him. He was at Miami. He had a chance to win a national championship. So this guy really, really gets it. When they hired him at Florida Atlantic, FIU, Florida International. Was a great coach there. And I think he did something like they went to like their first bowl game ever, I think, or something like that when he was there. So great confidence in him. Love the fact that he's at a huge, huge program. Although I'm not a huge fan of changing uniforms or, in their case, outfits every game. I hate that. That's the thing. Something I should have talked about in the beginning. Phil,
totally agree.
Really?
Totally agree.
Okay.
I totally agree with you.
So
it's almost like naming captains every game. I hate that too.
And this has got under me, bro. This got under me, and I'm
going to
start my bashing Notre Dame. Notre Dame elected 7 captains, bro.
Oh, come on.
7.
Captain of the Water Boys.
7,
Captain
bro.
of the Guard.
I mean, at that point, do you
how many captains do you need? It's like everybody. Where's Jerry Seinfeld?
Everybody's
a captain.
You get a captain. You get a captain.
Oprah's out there. You get a captain. Here's a C for you.
But it's hard though, right? Because now we're in that age where I'm sure kind of the whole millennial factor comes in, and folks get upset and stuff like that. But come on, man, bro. I remember captain offense, captain on defense. Bam.
Bam. Special teams. Give me a captain on the O.
There you go.
Maybe 2 if you want to get the quarterback and one of the offensive linemen involved. Then on defense, there's 1.
There you go.
Then a special teams captain. That's not the goddamn kicker.
Hey, man.
Just always give it to the punter
Seriously.
or the long snapper. Never give it to the kicker. Please.
7? I didn't even realize there were like 7%. I mean, are there 7?
Chris, 7? They have a captain every day of the week.
There you go. And it's hard, right? Because obviously, I bleed blue and gold. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh.
I didn't know that. And real quick on his point, for you listening on the podcast, the Chris Zorich Super 16 poll show with Chris Zorich. Let me just say this. I agree with Chris. Don't sell out to the millennials switching your uniforms.
Every game.
Have some consistency. And you could say whatever it is you want in Chris's poll. Penn State, that uniform, as plain as it is a classic, unbelievable showcase of the school and the pride. Same with Notre Dame. Florida State. I love their uniform the other night.
All right, give me a top 2.
Top 2?
Yes.
Oh my God. Let me think on it, and I'll get back to you.
Let me give you my top 2.
Okay,
which I already know this. Penn State, number 1.
Yep.
Alabama, number 2. The difference, a number on Alabama's helmet. That's all. Now, people are going to freak out.
Look at you. Shane's happy. Look at him.
People are going to freak out.
Roll Tide.
So everybody's like, hey, Notre Dame. And that's great. But, wearing the green jerseys, okay, that's I never wore one and won a national championship, but I don't want to talk about that. But the idea of wearing green jerseys, okay, that's cool. But now you got all these other games where they're changing helmets, bro.
Yeah,
changing helmets. ND on the side of the helmet. Leopard, come on, man.
Big game, Chris.
Isn't that a beautiful goal back there?
Yes, a big game. Big game. Maybe we're gonna go out there.
It's just like it's just like the other game. It's just like the game last week. It's not. It can't be any bigger than what it's supposed to be.
I hear you, but when you're the underdog,
we're talking about uniforms.
Yes, uniforms on this show.
All right, man. Come on, we need to run past this. All right, so time we talked about that. Great game next week, right? They're gonna be playing Ohio State. I think it's gonna be a true test, right? Ohio State's gonna have a chance to really play somebody who's really good. So that's our number 10. All right, folks, we're going to number 9, which is Oklahoma.
Number 9, Oklahoma.
Now I know folks are gonna hate on me for this. I'm a huge Spencer Rattler fan. I think he's going to do well. I don't even want to talk about Heisman. He's going to do really well. He had over 300 yards. But you cannot take a team when you're ranked. They were my 3rd team in my preseason poll. You cannot go into overtime to a team that actually you're supposed to go there, but because of all the hurricane stuff, you brought them there. They played at your stadium. You painted their logos on your field as a nice gesture, and you have to go in. And I forgot what the quarterback, dude. If he was like 6'4" instead of like 6'2", he probably would have gotten the first down, and they would have had a chance to win. But it was kind of the last second deal. They recovered the onside kick. Talk about Tulane, and then had a chance to take it in, but did not do it. So they actually dropped 6 to number 9. I have to pump Tulane up because my boss is a Tulane grad. That's Craig Randall. So I do have to give him a little shout out. And he was a quarterback. So he was the man. All right. So again, love the fact that Oklahoma and Texas are going to be going into the SEC. I think that's going to be a crazy powerhouse conference. But in the meantime, they need to kind of do a lot better on the field. Again, I don't know what was going on. They had all of the intangibles on their side, right? They were even helping the team out. They didn't even have to travel. They could sleep in their own bed. And they barely beat Tulane. So, of course, I was on the phone with my boss. We're texting back and forth. He was going absolutely nuts. So that's my number 19. I would love to talk about the next opponent, Western Carolina, but they won't start their conference games in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to go to number 8, which is Cincinnati. Number 8.
Number 8, Cincinnati.
Hey, Phil, I think I got one of those buttons over here where I could just press. They're numbered.
I was typing up your top 9, so
I didn't even see that. My bad.
I misspelled Oklahoma, so I'll go fix that.
That's okay. What did you have, a public school education? That's all right. You're like me, bro. That's fine. All right, we got our 8th team in this poll. It is Cincinnati. Great, love the coach. Luke Fickles, linebacker at Ohio State. Great player. I think he's also a great coach. It's challenging though because he is in the American Conference, right? But I think he has an opportunity. The university has an opportunity to go to the Big 12. I think they should jump at that, which I'm sure they will. They've always been kind of the Power 5 plus team, right? But again, they played Ball State, which was a MAC school, so they had a chance to pay Ball State Will Cash had a chance to kind of practice, right? The score was 49-12. So going into their next game, which is against Murray State, again, preseason games until they want to run it. They want to kind of run their field again, which they should, and they'll have a chance to kind of increase their ranking. So I actually had them bump up 3, even though they destroyed a MAC school. But again, we can talk about this for a second. October 2nd, they will be playing Notre Dame. And for those of you who might not know, our defensive coordinator at Notre Dame was the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati. Had a great relationship with Luke Fickell. Crazy fact. Fickell actually recruited him when he was at Ohio State. Marcus Freeman was a player, and he was a 2-time Big Ten player at Ohio State. So,
and former Chicago Bear.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right. Former Chicago Bear. There you go.
Chicago Bear, like you.
Yes, sir.
Now
former
he's at
Chicago
Notre Dame.
Bear. Yes, he is. He had a challenging week, but we actually have a chance to talk about that in the very near future, if you don't get my drift. It's going to be a good game against Murray State, but again, should be fun. That was my number 18. Now my number 17 is...
Number 7, Notre Dame.
Ay, Phil, man, my blood is boiling, bro. It's boiling. This game was rough, man. This was I need a drink. I need something harder for this one. This was
He's fired up. What a game, Chris.
This is a tough
game.
No. It's not no. Florida State, unranked ACC opponent. That's fine. I had them as high as 5. They were my 5th team in my poll. Okay. It was rough. Some positive spots. Jack Cohen. Oh my gosh. I mean, Ian Book, who? I mean, these guys, they have a chance. Great grad transfer. He played tremendous. Calm was a cucumber. I mean, just fine. Phil, I know you had a chance to see the game. I mean, this guy was legit, really, really good.
Oh, Cone, outstanding. I don't know what Coach Kelly was talking about after the game. I wanted to get your comments on this, for God's sake. But save that for a second. Cone, though, for a guy that transfers in, has a new team. That was and I know it's one game, but you're on Sunday Night Football. Notre Dame has to schedule it on Sunday night and prime time. And this kid goes out there, and I'm just going to say this. This is my opinion.
Uh-oh.
That was the most poised Notre Dame quarterback that I've seen since Tony Rice.
There you go.
And I'm dead serious.
Wow, that's interesting.
I have not.
Really
I got goosebumps for this kid watching him sit in the pocket and handle stuff the way. Let me say this: that I saw Mac Jones with Alabama handle pressure and accuracy on time.
Nice.
So the throws. I know. Listen, no way anybody could put themselves in that kid's shoes and understand the pressure at that position in that game at Florida State, Chris. I mean, seriously, that to me, I had to jump in and thank you because I wanted to add my 2 cents. I was so impressed.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think he is. He the 1 year he's going to have. I think he's going to do great.
Yes.
So on the defensive side of the ball, there was obviously some issues. However, the D-line played really well. They had 5 sacks. Folsky had 2 himself. And our great safety, Cal Hamilton, had 2 interceptions. Now, 1 interception every couple games is impressive. But having 2 in one game, I think that's really, really, really impressive. And for a DB, and I think he's tall. He's definitely taller than me. He's like 6'3". I think he's going to be a great person on the next level. But we can't really talk about that because we have another opponent we have to concentrate on, and that is Toledo, right? But to stay true and transparent, because they literally just beat Florida State, unranked team, in overtime by 3, they dropped 2. Remember I said there were 5, they're now down to 7. I think another person you need to watch out for is that amazing tight end, Mayer. I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to talk to see him, Phil. I mean, he just,
oh my
I think
God.
they called him Baby Gronk or something like that.
Yeah, but I hate that because everybody's baby Gronk, you know? This kid, for
He's
everything he did, last year, he was the best tight end out there, no doubt. And I love Brock. I know he's with the Lions, but let me just say this. When it all came down, that drop stood, you know, that was a bit, I think that's the mistake that propels this kid to Mark Bavaro type
There you go.
football player, you know, because to your point, he is so enormously athletic. He's the best tight end in the country, in my opinion.
And you need those situations, right? You need those situations. I mean, thank God they didn't lose the game, but you need those situations where you have a young person who really needs his mettle tested, right? I mean, because you have a chance to win the game, you drop an easy pass, right?
Yes.
I mean, how hard is he going to work this week in practice now, right? I mean, you know, I can imagine at the jug machine, he'll probably be catching 100 balls, you know, 100 more than he normally catches. You know, so it's one of those things where you want, I mean, again, hate to kind of give adversity, but I'm sure after Coach Kelly kind of makes his comments and stuff like that, I mean, I'm sure he's kind of chuckling, going, I'm kind of glad it happened to the kid, you know, because you want to build that adversity in your team.
I totally agree, man. That's how you learn. That's how humans learn, by mistake.
Okay, so we're going to have a chance to talk a little bit more about something special that happened during the game a little later, but that was my 7th ranked team. So now we're going to go to number 6, Florida.
Number 6, Florida.
Huge Dan Mullen fan. This game was okay. They played FAU. I think they're in the Sun Belt. I mean, not that great. The score was okay, 35-14. Quarterback only had 113 yards. Really kind of not impressive. But I think, again, they're kind of practicing for their 3rd game of the year. And the 3rd game of the year is going to be for Alabama. And I think it's going to be great because you'll have a chance to kind of see really how they'll be tested when they have a chance to kind of go up against better competition. But I'm a little nervous for Florida because last year their defense gave up over 400 yards a game. So maybe kind of playing with lesser competition these first couple of games, getting ready for Alabama. Not sure, but hopefully it will. So that was my number 16. We'll now go to number 5, which is Texas A&M.
Number 5, Texas A&M.
Okay, now Penn State at home, 41-10. Phil, I mean, do you have any feelings about this, man? I mean, SEC versus the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, you said it at the top, and I think it's appropriate, especially with how the NCAA has set up this championship series. You schedule some cupcakes at the beginning of your schedule to set the tone and get you prepared, where, you know, you saw Georgia versus
Clemson, yeah.
Clemson,
really
Georgia.
Yeah.
You saw that. Now it sets the tone. Like, how do you come back? Is this, you know, obviously you're going to be talking about that, but you see it straight out the gate. Now you go way behind in how you attacked winning the ultimate goal, the prize here, the college football championship. So for me, obviously, you have a lot of hype on this football team. I love the running back there. So when you see what they do you got to beat those opponents, and they did it. So this is a good start for them. Again, just a reminder for fans listening on the podcast or watching, Chris showed you his preseason poll. This is his poll every Monday. He'll be coming live 8:30 here to break down his poll heading into the weekend. So he's going to be doing this all season long, getting you prepared for the Bowl Championship Series. So I had to say that too in there, Chris.
And that's how you're a great producer. But one of the things I really love, and I forgot what they call it, but they do it every night before the game. They do it at midnight, and they fill the freaking stadium. And I know I'm gonna get slammed for this because me and my boy Keith we're talking about going to just to literally see this. But it's a huge pep rally, and they have like all their, because it's a military school. They have all the folks out there and all of their regalia doing the whole the march thing, and it's amazing. And
Chris, they call it the yell. They call it the yell.
There we go. Thank you very much, sir. Did you know that, or would one of our awesome listeners give us that knowledge?
I was Googling to be perfectly clear.
Oh, you be transparent. He's keeping it 100 and he's being honest. So that's how he found out. That's very impressive. But again, the one thing I didn't know, doing a little research about the team, they actually last year was their best year. They were ranked in the top 5. That's the best year they had since the 30s. I did not know that. And they also won the Orange Bowl. So that'd be great. Again, top 5 team, Texas A&M. They went up 1 in my poll. Our next one is going to be, number 4, Clemson.
Number 4, Clemson.
Okay, so before I start off, I want to see if I get this right. DJ Uiagalelei. I'm pretty sure that's it. Phil, do you have any? I mean, it's close, right?
It sounds perfect to me.
It was close, man.
If we were watching Moana, it's perfect there too.
I forgot who the announcers were, but man, they were just some of them were just calling him DJ. Big number 5.
That's how you do it.
Else, but I wanted to try because I got respects for folks' names. So DJ Uiagalelei. So Anglelele. See, I'm trying, man.
Chris, I gotta ask you right off the bat. I know you got some notes on Clemson, but I was completely disappointed in the quarterback. I mean, you come out there with all that hype. I figured you can hit a couple slants, be poised. I know Georgia's defense led the country last year in rush defense. They kept saying it over and over in the broadcast. It's a crazy environment. But Chris, if you're going to come in having freaking commercials, you got to come out there and step up and at least look. I was having visions of Mitch Trubisky's mental processing going down.
It was also offensive line too. I mean, they did. I forgot how many times he got sacked. I mean, it was the offensive line play really wasn't that great either. But I was going to say that. I mean, can he play in big games? Absolutely. He put up close to 500 yards last year against Notre Dame, and they lost when they played Notre Dame. So, is he the future? Absolutely. He only had 178 yards, but I think we're expecting too much from a really good team. Now, the flip side to that is, as kind of Phil mentioned, I mean, if you're doing commercials and stuff like that, and you're on what I had Clemson as the number 2 team in the country, then absolutely you need to perform. And I'm sure this guy's a competitor. He's going to go back, and they're going to be playing South Carolina State. So I'm sure the first quarter, he's going to throw up like 500 yards, and after that, he'll be done. But he needs to kind of get that revenge, right? Because, I mean, literally, it was great, right? So he was so poised. After the game, I was reading some stuff, and he actually came out and said that, he'll put that loss on him. Now, that's a leader, right? I mean, this kid is a sophomore, and he's going to say, hey, this is my responsibility. No, I think he's a junior. He's going to, hey, I'll take this responsibility. This is something that you want your leaders to do, right? Step up, take that responsibility. And you'll have a chance to kind of see his leadership throughout the year. But first game, and again, kind of same thing we talked about Mayer, the tight end at Notre Dame, dropping that pass, right? How do you think he's going to feel the next week, the week after this? He knows he was the reason why his team didn't win, right? He's feeling that he took on that responsibility. That's what you want in a leader, right? I would love to be a player and have him as my quarterback, because he's going to do what he needs to do. He's going to do what he needs to take to win. And that's important. And you look at the success they've had. I mean, he was willing to sit behind the first round pick. Or the first pick in the draft last year. Why not? Why not sit behind Trevor Lawrence and learn, right? And he learned well. He put up almost 500 points against Notre Dame last year. So I think this is a fluke. However, again, being true, keeping it 100, they do need to move down. Now, this is my only team that has one loss. Do I think they're better than Texas A&M, Florida, Notre Dame, Penn State, Virginia? Absolutely they are, even though they have the one loss, right? So I think they're going to go back to the drawing board. Dabo's going to do well. But it's kind of interesting, because what you want to do, you want to lose in this kind of crazy playoff system. You want to lose early, because if this happened at the end of the year, who's to say what would have happened, right? So great team.
This is the kind of loss that you need to happen early, to your point. If this happens after Thanksgiving or leading up to Thanksgiving, then Clemson's an afterthought. Let's just keep it 100 like that.
Sure.
So to your point, you look at this roster as a whole, the environment that they had to play in, and you assign them the one team that has a loss in your top 16. You assign them what you feel is an appropriate spot. I respect that. I really do, because there's so much talent on that football team. But also, the Georgia football team is one hell of a football.
Well, I was going to say that too.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
we're talking about
Clemson, that's the key here for Chris's commentary. I
sure.
Totally
and
agree.
again, they're not. Georgia, those are men. They were. It was fast. I was on the phone. We're talking to a couple of my guys. There's some guys here, and we just couldn't believe the speed that Georgia had. It was amazing. And I really do think we saw some really good football on Saturday. It was and I wanted to talk to you about this, but I understand. How cool would it be to have one of these huge marquee matchups, at least once a week, right?
Oh my God.
But you don't have a crystal ball, right? So, you don't know who's going to be picked where or whatever, but I think it just gave folks even more. Folks are more excited to actually enjoy the atmosphere of two great teams playing. And again, I would have dropped them more, but you got to think about this. Georgia only won because of the pick six.
That's right.
So we're still talking about a 3-3 ball game, right, outside the pick six. So I think now, again, and this is going to be interesting. I want to actually kind of get your take on this. Dabo has said that, the ACC is weak, right? So now is Clemson the belle of the ball for all these conferences now? Because if they're the best team in the ACC, and they've actually kind of established that, right?
Right.
Who's to say the Big Ten? Who's to say, SEC is not going to come knocking at the door?
Could happen. You never know, especially now, especially with Texas. I never thought I would see that because of Texas. It's Big 12. It's Oklahoma, Texas, But the reality is you don't know in this day and age, just like you did your, op on athletes getting paid. That was in the Sun Times.
Sure.
We weren't going to see that happening. Now we see that. So to your point here, it could be that. Because if I was a coach of Clemson and I felt like my conference, and this goes against other people's thoughts, But for me, I would want to play the best. I would want to be in the SEC and say,
which
no.
coaches want to do, right? I mean, you
Most
can't tell me
coaches,
that
some don't. Some don't.
But I mean, but the competitors, right? I mean, no one's
Right,
going to say. I mean,
exactly.
no, obviously, no one's going to say publicly, but you know, people are going to say, I don't know if I want to go to the SEC. I mean, why not? Right? I mean, why
Right.
not? You know, you're a Saban disciple. Why not go back in there and say, I could beat Nick? Heck yeah, I could beat Nick. Now, granted, you might not, but you know, you're not going to say, oh well, you know, I'm going to lose to Nick. Forget that.
The other thing I really want to beat home, and then I'll shut up and bounce back, is a lot of people are like,
I'm just looking for my button to make you go back in.
Georgia QB sucked, Ralph Barf is saying. Well, they're playing against a great defense too. And Clemson, that was two opening night, two great defenses in the
You
country.
are not going to see that. You are not going to see that.
So let's tap the brakes. And then, you know, to my point, I wanted to see, because of the Samoan kid's last name, I can't pronounce.
I'll tell you, DJ Uwe Anglele.
There you go.
Come on, man.
People are proud of you for that. Because of his hype, I wanted to see some big time moments from him that I felt like Cone.
You're just jealous because you don't have a Dr. Pepper commercial. That's why. I think that's why.
It. Draft Dr. Pepper. Come on.
See, thought about that. See, I just lob that softball to him. I just lob it to him. Bam.
Hold on, my phone's ringing. It might be that.
Oh, by the way, it's Dr. Pepper. Nice. All right, man. Let's go ahead and finish this. Okay, so that was my number 4. Okay, so now we have number 3, Ohio State.
Number 3, Ohio State.
Now here we go. So we have a team whose great quarterback got drafted in the NFL, no longer with us. I'm sure our buddy Phil has some comments on him. Who was that again? That was a quarterback at Ohio State?
Justin Fields?
Oh, yeah. My bad. So this guy leaves, and you find, like, maybe not a mirror image, but you find something that's almost threw up 300 yards. I mean, how does Ohio State do this, right? So that's the reason why they're the best team in the Big Ten. Now, there's also some controversy, too, because of what happened with the scheduling and everything. They only played 6 games. There's that Michigan issue. Do I think it was fair that, according to the rules they had set up, Indiana was supposed to go on and play in the Big Ten and then maybe have a chance to go on to the college football playoff series, right? That didn't happen. So at the last minute, there was kind of this bait and switch. I was not for that. Look, you set up some rules. Now, I mean, a lot of people have talked about how you have to be fluid. You have to kind of change in motion. But here's the thing. You set up some rules, and all of a sudden it's like, we're not going to send the best team? Let's go ahead and change them. Like, was that fair? And again, how about those kids that are on Indiana's team, right? This is a chance where they'll have a chance to remember this for the rest of their lives. They probably won't be in that situation again. And so you've taken that away from them because you're in the back and you kind of made up, okay, well, we could do this and we could. It's like the game that I was a kid and they took all my money. But it's a game like they play on the subway where they got the ball and the cups and everything like that. That's like bait and switch, right? I mean, how do you set up some rules and allow folks to actually adhere to them, and then all of a sudden you're not putting your best foot forward, you're not putting your best team out there, you're going to go ahead and change and tweak the rules, but that's on my soapbox, and let me talk about that for a little bit. Had a chance to play a really good team, but here's the thing that I think is a bigger issue. Minnesota, they weren't ranked, but I think they're really competitive. In that first half, I mean, I was shocked. I was a little nervous. Phil, I don't know if you had a chance to see that game, but first half, I mean, they destroyed Ohio State. And then all of a sudden, Ohio State had a chance to come back. I did not
see the first half. I did catch some of the second half where they started to run the football.
Right.
And that seemed like the difference, Coach Nagy.
I'm glad we're not talking about the Bears right now. But see, so that's a situation where you do well against a team that you're not necessarily supposed to lose to, and you want to go out, have a chance to kind of show players what it means to win these important games. And that's why I think they actually went up one space in my poll. So that was Ohio State at number 3. Ryan Dathling is doing a great job. So our number 2 team is Georgia.
Number 2, Georgia.
Now, Phil, I kind of think that if we just replayed the last kind of Clemson part, I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about, right? We're talking about two great teams playing together. We're talking about a 2-7. I mean, in my poll, so the idea of having these types of games in the beginning of the season is great. SEC versus ACC, some great teams. I mean, this was it was. I don't want to say I was watching. It was as if I was watching football on the NFL, but these were some great teams. And I think that fans really kind of enjoy it. And I think that it just proved that Daniels and also Iui Igbanyele were great quarterbacks, right? I mean, this wasn't about throwing up 500 points. This is about trying to win the game.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not cliche for a reason, Chris. You played the position. Defense wins championships. And sometimes you set the tone with your defense. So don't overlook Clemson's defense here. But Georgia's defense is just like, amazing. I mean, I was watching it. I know Shane, the smartest man, he was in the chat saying Ryan Pace loves some Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, I think every GM is salivating at that defensive tackle from Georgia. I mean, that dude, he single-handedly affected this whole game for Clemson. They could not run the ball.
Right.
That dude is top 5 talent. Just watching the TV copy, Chris. So, and it's to your point, man. To see that defense, those two defenses, it was a perfect primetime matchup. If UFC was the heavyweight fights, they put those two defenses out there. That was perfect, and they did what they should have done, in my opinion.
And again, I mean, you talk about Christopher Smith's like a 70-plus yard return, right? For 6. I mean, if that doesn't happen,
it's 3-3. We're in overtime.
Exactly. And
now we're playing red zone football.
There we go.
The win. And
so I mean, I think it was great watching it. I mean, I was excited about it. Although I wanted to see Alabama, I really was more excited about this game. I mean, honestly, because I had a chance to really kind of see not only what Clemson can do and kind of all the hype with them, but more importantly, Georgia, man. I mean, they've been on the outskirts of getting the championship. I mean, they've been very, very close. So having a chance, maybe this might be their year. And how much confidence are you going to build having a chance to beat Clemson, who everybody said was, number 2 or top 3 or whatever it was, and he had a great quarterback. They shut him down. I mean, you don't think those defensive guys are out there partying?
And you don't think they're seeing Alabama and hearing Alabama their entire careers? So to go out there and perform like that defensively for Georgia sets the tone. Now, offensively, every offense, except for some that you're going to talk about, go out there opening day and kind of are rusty. It's always like that, it seems. So let's see where this team goes. Same with Clemson. I know I'm a little harder on the Clemson quarterback because of the hype, but to your point, I just think that this Georgia football team shouldn't be overlooked at all.
Well, JT Daniels got some hype too, but here's the thing. This is something that folks might not know. Obviously, all you got to do is look at the schedule, but their next opponent is UAB, right?
Right.
But they don't play a ranked team. Like they're in the lesser division in the SEC, so they play no ranked teams. Like they need to practice to play against basically Alabama next year, right? I mean, so basically they're gonna run a table,
Right.
And it's going to be Alabama, Georgia in the ACC. Now, I mean, obviously, we'll talk about that when that time comes. But here's the thing. I'm a little nervous. If you're not playing top teams, if you're not playing ranked teams, if you're not playing great teams, you're going to have these great rivalries as the other side of the division or the other side of the conference does. How are we going to get better, right? So we'll have a chance to talk about that later. But we are down to our last one. The number one team in the Super 16 poll show is, you guessed it, Alabama.
Number 1, Alabama.
Now, this is going to go out to one of our comrades here at TTNL, right? And here's the thing. Yes, Shane, Alabama is number one. They deserve to be number one. That even though they played a number 16th Miami squad, they looked like men, right? And so then you had a quarterback who had not started a game, and he put up 344. Who does that in a system that, I mean, literally Mac Jones was there last year, and now all of a sudden we have his clone. I mean, this is great. And I think they threw up a stat. Didn't he have more yards than Mac Jones did his first game? Do you remember that, Phil?
I honestly don't remember, but I think, listen, this kid, you talk about living up to the hype.
We're talking about Bryce Young, by the way. Sorry.
Bryce Young. Talk about living up to the hype. This guy, 4 touchdowns, just poise, athleticism, everything, every trait you want. And that's where the DJ, I'm just going to call him, didn't.
Uiagalelei.
Yes, thank you.
Where
DJ Uiagalelei.
Oh, there you go. See?
Is it like cousins of Adewale Agunleye? No, I'm just joking.
Hey, man, why not?
But to be perfectly clear, I was blown away by this Alabama quarterback, man. And there was 3 quarterbacks that blew me away on Saturday. I've mentioned 2 of them. Chris is going to talk about another one. But really, this kid, Bama, they have like just coming off the bus NFL first-round picks,
hey,
man.
But here's the thing. It's not even – so this is why I admire Nick Saban, Alabama so much. And I've talked about this before. People have criticized me about this. It is hard being number one. Right. It's hard.
Great.
There's always a bullseye on your back. Being number one, it's a bitch. It is so hard to do. And what makes – and that's why people hate you, right? Because, look at Tom Brady. Look at Belichick. Look at New England. Hey, man, you're saying that because you're envious of their success. Okay, they're damn good. And here's this. And I know you saw this part in the fourth quarter. I think it was maybe a minute, something like that. The third-team quarterback was in there. He messed up. Saban was all over him when he came on the sideline, bro. I mean, that's a competitor. That's a coach.
He is a coach. He is a coach. He is a coach.
You are dominating somebody. You're 13
accountability.
Come on, man. And that's what I think, one, a lot of people might be afraid of, but 2, is so vitally important to success. I think I was reading somewhere, it was a couple, I want to say it was maybe 2 years ago, but there was a stat out there that if you came in as a freshman, I think in 2010 at Alabama, you won a national championship like every other year. I mean, what is that, dude? I mean, you're always in the hunt. And then here's another thing, and again, I'll promise I'll get off my Alabama soapbox. But here's the thing. Any system we throw at Nick Saban, he adjusts and has success. The BCS system, playoff system. I mean, anything you throw at him, he's going to do what he needs to do and have success. And people criticize, he gets all the 5-star guys. Yes, he works at it. They do it. Chris. They deserve it. If you're a top 5 corner, if you're a 5-star corner, right? What's the conversation? He's not going to bring out the rings. He's just saying, look, son, you have a chance to play at Alabama, maybe your sophomore, junior year. What? I mean, that's the conversation. You know, he's not going to them and saying, "Hey, you're gonna play."
He might say you might be able to play, but you're definitely going. And look what I've never been to Alabama, but the sales pitch for Florida, USC,
Sure.
so on and so forth. Even Notre Dame has a better sales pitch than Alabama, the school like location,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So there is something to be said, and I hate listening to radio broadcast. Oh, he gets all the 5-star recruit. You still got to coach him. You still got to deal with the personalities and put the players in the positions to go over the fundamentals. You talk about a coach. You look at Alabama, how they fire out, and then look at the Chicago Bears, watch them. It's like, that's the difference. That's what a coach is. Nobody should be hating on Nick Saban. It should be, let's praise the reality of what he's the definition of how you should be a coach.
Sure. And I think what again, and I mentioned it a little bit before, but I mean, people don't understand. Again, I can only say this because we were number one for 23 games while I was at Notre Dame. It's hard. It is hard. And so you get your best. You're going to get Auburn's best. So they're going to get Miami's best.
Yep.
So I can't say enough about it. I'm sure we'll be talking about them more in the future. But the one thing I do want to talk about for just a second is people have been criticizing Miami's quarterback, Derek King, for making a statement that said, we're going to go out there and beat Alabama. Now, absolutely you're supposed to say that. You want to go in there and you know that you can beat them. You've had a great practice. What is he supposed to say? We're going to go out there and lose? So everybody's saying, oh, well, that was bulletin board for the opposing. You think Alabama needs a quarterback saying we're going to go out there and beat them? I mean, come on.
I think he's got it under control. Chris, we are coming up 12 after, and we got
oh my gosh,
9:30.
I apologize about that.
Yeah, that's okay. Remember, on Monday nights, we are not going to have any restrictions. But I know we have a show coming up at 9:30 East. That's the One Up Fantasy Podcast. So I just wanted to keep you onto your thoughts. You've released. Let me put up Chris Zorich's top 16 for everybody to see, not on a banner, but on his week 1.
We got 16 Virginia Tech, 15 Texas. These are for all the people that are listening on the podcast. 14 Penn State, 13 Iowa, 12 Iowa, 11 USC, 10 Oregon, 9 Oklahoma, 8 Cincinnati, 7 Notre Dame, 6 Florida, 5 Texas A&M, 4 Clemson, 3 Ohio State, 2 Georgia, and number 1 Alabama.
Look at that. That's Chris Zorich, always bringing it. He'll be here live every week, breaking down this college football season like nobody else does in the TTNL way. He's always keeping it 100.
Okay, I've
the
learned
next,
it. See,
next
I've
segment.
actually done the motto. So hold on, man. I got my top 5 matchup, bro.
I got it.
I forgot about that, man.
Let me produce.
I need my
Jerry.
brother over here, man.
Chris Zorich's next segment gives you his top 5.
Snap, my bad, man. My bad. I thought you were going to go into our special segment we got. All right, so I do apologize about that. This is our first show. We will definitely get the hang of it together. I'm pretty sure.
We're doing great. I'm getting a lot of comments.
Hopefully they are good.
All good.
All good. We got top 5 matchups for this week. Actually, we got, as I mentioned before, 12 Iowa, number 13 Iowa State at Iowa State. We got Colorado at number 5 Texas A&M. We got Stanford at 11 USC. This is going to be a good one too. Washington at Michigan, and I think the one I'm excited to watch, 16 Oregon at number 3 Ohio State.
Those are the 2 big games for me too, Chris. Iowa State, Oregon.
For the come on now. It's not the golden ear of corn. It's the Cy-Hawk Trophy.
There you go.
Cy-Tech.
Cy-Hawk Trophy.
Cy-Tech. Is that like Caltech University? Cy-Tech. All right.
Hold on. Can I give you a. It was in the script.
The script. I do have to say. Oh no, that was my.
He does have notes. I saw a lot of people commenting in the chat. He does.
Hey, man, this
take
is hard,
notes.
man. Are you kidding me? Look
You're
at
doing
this.
a great job, Chris.
I got notes. No, look at this. Of course, I got notes, man. Come on now.
And we're gonna add more to the show. We're gonna, leave some feedback, comments in the YouTube channels. You can watch it on Chris's YouTube channel, which is Chris Zorich. Just pop it in there on YouTube, or the Tape Never Lies Network on our YouTube. Leave comments. Me and Chris are gonna read them, as well as a lot of the producers here at TTNL, to make this show the best show talking about college football every Monday night, going over Chris Zorich's The Super 16 Poll Show.
So before we leave, I want to do a couple things. I do want to give a little shout out because I think we should be honest and kind of how this show kind of started.
Yes.
Right.
Go.
So
yes.
Actually, Phil talked to me about, hey, why don't you come on, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, man, I'd love to. Hey, check this out. I was asked to be a voter for this. And Phil was like, oh, man, that's a pretty good idea, right? Hey, yeah, we can talk about that. So that's where I was like, okay, great, this is fine. Then all of a sudden, the smartest man around, Shay, comes in, right? He's like, man, what about doing a show? Now, how long ago was that? Was that like, 6 days ago or something like that?
It was really 7 days ago.
Seriously. So this is literally us putting together something and really to kind of let the fans kind of have some fun, right? Because when we see the poll, and believe me, I mean, I was watching. I don't watch anymore because I'm my own pollster now, right? But I was watching AP polls. I was watching coaches poll. I mean, I love college football, right? But I think there were some things in there that I didn't like. So, for example, if a ranked team maybe beat another team by, just a couple points, they wouldn't drop that far. And I'm like, hey, man, that's great. Or if an unranked team has a chance to beat a ranked team, why not get some pub for that? So this is one of those polls that, again, this is my poll, my opportunity, but I want to throw some things in there that, are those intangibles that I think are important and will allow folks to kind of understand just from a player standpoint what folks are thinking. And again, I'll keep on go back to that BYU situation of last year. They didn't have to do that, and they wound up kind of paying for it because they wound up losing. But this is just kind of what college football is about. And again, after a great weekend of college football, I mean, this was great. And what more importantly, and I know Phil's kind of kicking me under the table, the virtual table, we have some final thoughts, and I think this is really cool because. This is although he was an opponent on Florida State's team, I'm talking about Mackenzie Milton, who suffered a terrifying injury in 2018 as he was the quarterback of South Florida. And it was to a point where they thought they may have to amputate his leg. It was that bad. And so for those folks who had a chance to watch the game on Sunday, they kind of talked about it and they kind of documented his journey. And you want to talk about someone who not only has overcome some stuff, but was told by doctors that, no, you will never play again. They were hoping he could walk again. And yesterday he came in and literally almost beat Notre Dame after having kind of all this adversity. So I mean, that's somebody that I want to highlight because this is really what college football, what all athletics is about, right? It's about kind of learning at a young age how to overcome adversity. I mean, when we saw Mackenzie get injured in 2018, I mean, he knew what he was going to do. And that was, he wanted to play again. So he told the doctors, hey, I'm going to play again. And they're like, absolutely not. You're crazy. But he did it. And I don't know if he had a chance, but his parents are up when the stands are crying and everything. And I think it's an amazing story, win or lose. I think a lot of folks are going to have a chance to really kind of be inspired by his story. I know I'm a Florida State fan. I'm obviously a huge Mackenzie fan because when someone tells you no, I love a good no because that just pushes me. So I'm sure you got some thoughts about this because this is really what kind of being a football player, really any athlete is about.
Chris, you speak on it, and I get goosebumps looking at you, the ultimate underdog coming out of, Chicago, going to Notre Dame as a small guy and then becoming an All-American and then playing for your hometown team. It's beyond that even level. And I love Chris Zorich. I'm keeping it 100 to have on the stage that moment. I don't give a crap where you play, where you're from, to have everybody who's an expert say, no way. No way you'll ever play. Every doctor, the surgeon who performed the surgery was there. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that kid and the pride. And let me tell you, I got to give Notre Dame so much credit because the whole momentum of that football game completely changed. No matter how Cohn played and amazing he was, the story was Mackenzie.
Absolutely.
And for him to rise up to that occasion. I mean, it was like Disney. I wrote it on my face. It's like Disney jumped down and made this movie. And there it was. And I'm in awe. Like, I'm in tears with his mom. I got emotional, because I love this game. And he's short like me. So it was just an amazing college football is awesome. I texted Chris. I go, it's like Rudy all over again. He's like, let me tell you, this guy's much better than Rudy. Keeping it 100. But this is what football's all about, man.
Absolutely.
Right there. I mean, it was phenomenal. And then, Chris, I'm getting nervous when he's taking off running. I'm like,
imagine how his mom was feeling, man.
Oh my God. I said that to my wife. My wife's like, I'm sure Tate and Dev could play. I go, they're playing college football. Yeah, if they want. God, it was awesome. It was phenomenal.
And that's really what we want to bring as well, and kind of highlight those moments. We both have participated in athletics before. We understand how important this game of college football, this game of football is. And when you're able to kind of highlight great stories like that, it's truly important. And I think that it's special because we could all learn from it. I don't care if you're, 12, 13, just starting out in football, or you're like me, like an old hat at 52. I mean, I was inspired by him. And so imagine all the folks around the country. And I'm just talking about folks who maybe just read the story, maybe not even be football fans, who were inspired by the story.
Phenomenal. Chris Zorich, you are phenomenal.
You the man. Hey, man, first show wrapped up. It's pretty good.
I think we killed it. It was beyond pretty good. I'm being serious. I was taking my notes, watching you to come up with some advice for you, and I'm gonna keep it 100 on a show that does it.
Where's my button at?
You were awesome. You were awesome.
All right. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We're having a close here. Check out next week when we're on our true evening, which is Monday nights, 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll have next week's Super 16 poll show with Chris Zorich. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching the Super 16 poll show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.